about to unbox them. Start with box number 1. Ah, fresh pack smell. Take that box for later. Alright, 36 packs of Amonkhet booster packs. Let's see what we got in the first one. Alright, we got Scattered Groves. This is a new land. It's green, white, and if it would focus, that would be awesome. This is a green-white land, forest plains, both basic land subtypes, so it's not basic land itself. And it's battlefield tap, but you can pay 2 mana to cycle it, so it's a pretty good effect. And we got a foiled Doomed Dissenter. When it dies, you create a 2/2 black zombie creature token. Not an awful first pack, but let's see what we go from here. Another foil. It's an island. We got a Combat Celebrant. This is a mythic rare. It's a red creature for 3 mana. It's a human warrior, 4 power, 1 toughness. If he hasn't been exerted this turn, you may exert it as it attacks. When you do, untap all other creatures you control, and after this phase, there is additional combat phase. And we got a foil plains. Easily the best card ever printed, because it lets you play blue spells. Pack number 3. Shadow of the Grave. This is a black instant for 2 mana. Return to your hand all cards in your graveyard that you cycled or discarded this turn. So, I'm not sure if there's going to be a deck that will do it, but it lets you just have a whole lot of fun with discard effects or anything that has a cheap cycle cost. Draw a bunch of cards and return all your cards that you just cycled back to your hand. Hashtag value. Alright, we got a double rare in this one, and a full art forest. We got for the regular rare, it's a Honored Hydra. This is a 6 mana Snake Hydra for. This is a 6/6 Snake Hydra for 6 mana. I can't talk. It has Trample and Embalm. Embalm is you can pay 4 mana to exile this card from your graveyard, then you create a token that's a copy of it, except it's a white zombie Snake Hydra with no mana cost. You can only embalm as a sorcery. God only knows how broken it would have been if you could do that as instant speed. This is a foil Insult and Injury. Insult, 3 mana sorcery, damage can't be prevented this turn. If a source you control would deal damage this turn, it deals double that damage instead. An Injury, 3 mana sorcery, Aftermath, you can only cast it from your graveyard, then you exile it and it deals 2 damage to target creature and 2 damage to target player. If you cast both of them in the same turn, Insult's going to damage it's going to double all the damage that it deals. So it'll deal 4 damage to a creature and 4 damage to a player. As well as anything else you do that turn, like combat damage, other burn spells. All kinds of fun stuff. Alright, next pack. Another mythic. Vizier of the Menagerie. 4 mana, not a cleric, 3 power, 4 toughness. You may look at the top card of your library. You may do this at any time. You may cast the top card of your library if it's a creature card. You may spend mana as though it were mana of any type to cast creature spells. So in a mainly creature deck, this is pretty good value because going to let you play off the top of your deck as long as there's a creature there. Next pack. Cascading Cataracts. This is a land, indestructible, tap it for a colorless mana, or you can pay 5 mana to add 5 mana and any combination of colors to your mana pool. I like this for my EDH deck because my EDH deck is a 5-color deck. So just being able to produce one of each color is pretty good. I'm hoping to open at least one invocation out of 4 boxes. Alright, Never End Return. Another split card. 3 mana sorcery, destroy target creature, planeswalker. Return, 4 mana sorcery, Aftermath, exile target card from a graveyard, create a 2/2 black zombie creature token. So the second half of it's not overwhelming or anything like that, it's just extra value onto the fact that you can destroy a creature or planeswalker. Being able to destroy a planeswalker is a huge thing because not a whole lot of things interact with planeswalkers themselves. Alright, next pack. Pyramid of the Pantheon. Now this, I want to like this card, but I really think it's just too damn slow. It's a 1 mana artifact, and you can pay 2 mana to tap it to add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool and put a brick counter on it. If it has 3 brick counters on it, you can tap it to add 3 mana of any one color to your mana pool. So it's quasi-ramp, I guess, because you're pretty much taxing yourself at the beginning, but then it'll turn into value after 3 turns. Honestly, I don't really see it being played too much in Standard, if at all. Alright, we got a Heart Piercer Mana Core. 4 mana, 4/3, creature type Mana Core. When it enters the battlefield, you may sacrifice another creature. When you do, Heart Piercer Mana Core deals damage equal to the creature's power to target creature player. It has Embalm of 6, exile it from your graveyard, create a token that's a copy of it, except it's a white zombie Mana Core with no mana cost, and you can only embalm as a sorcery. So, it's pretty much a fling on a stick. Alright, pack number 10. Alright, we got another mythic rare, and this one's a god. Ronus, the Indomitable. 3 mana, 5/5, legendary creature, god. He has Death Touch and Indestructible. He cannot attack or block unless you control another creature with power 4 or greater. But luckily he has an ability that says pay 3 mana to give a creature +2/+0 and trample until end of turn. So any 2x creature you have will now turn him online. Oh, shoot, I just put one of the booster packs in the wrong spot. That was silly. Pack number 11. Alright. Approach of the Second Sun. This I want to play in a blue-white deck as a 1 or 2 of. This is a 7 mana sorcery. If it was cast from your hand and you've cast another spell named Approach of the Second Sun this game, you win the game. Otherwise, put it into its owner's library for the 7th from the top and gain 7 life. And the cool thing about this card is you don't even have to resolve it the first time. It just has to be cast. So as long as you resolve a second cast of this spell, you win. And it replaces itself into the deck, so you just draw into it and then you win that way, or if you have a second copy coming up, you can cast that one. Okay, pack 12, box 1. Glorybound Initiate. Let's see. 2 mana, 3/1. You may exert it as it attacks. When you do, it gets +1/+3 and gains lifelink until end of turn. This is actually pretty strong, I think, because it's aggressively costed, and turn 3 you swing with a 4/4 lifelink. Fortunately, you know he's not going to tap next turn, but you could also do something like give him Vigilance somehow, like through an enchantment or something like that. So every turn you can swing in with a 4/4 lifelinker. Alright, we got another split card. This one is called Commit Memory. 4 mana instant, put target spell or non-land permanent into its owner's library second from the top. Memory, 6 mana sorcery, Aftermath. Each player shuffles his or her hand and graveyard into his or her library, then draw 7 cards. Gideon's Intervention. This is a 4 mana enchantment. When it enters the battlefield, choose a card name. Your opponent can't cast spells with the chosen name and prevent all damage that will be dealt to you and permanents controlled by sources with the chosen name. And we got a foil Kefnet's Monument. Blue creature spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. Whenever you cast a creature spell, target creature an opponent controls doesn't untap during its controller's next untap step. So it's neat. It's a legendary artifact. Got a couple effects on it, but nothing too broken. I'm hoping to see one of those Force of Wills, but I highly doubt it. Drake Haven. This is a 3 mana enchantment. Whenever you cycle or discard a card, you may pay 1. If you do, create a 2/2 blue Drake creature token with flying. This actually seems like something you can build a deck around. There are plenty of very cheap cycling spells, plenty of spells that cause you to discard cards. I can see it's like some kind of blue-black controlled shell. Right. This one is Prepare and Fight. This one is a dual color split card. Alright, 2 mana instant. Untap target creature gets +2/+2 and lifelink until end of turn. And Fight, 4 mana sorcery, Aftermath. Target creature you control fights target creature opponent controls. So for 6 mana, it's decent removal, I guess, but I don't know. Honestly, I just see it as a combat trick, but later on you can use it. I don't know. Early on, it's a dodge or removal spell, like if something's gonna deal 3 damage to your creature, or if it's gonna give it like -2/-2 and put it in negative life or something like that. I don't know. Alright, let's see here. Next pack. Ooh, I like this one. Even Mind Sensor. This is a really good card. Even Mind Sensor is a 3 mana bird wizard. It has 2 power and 1 toughness. He has flash and flying. And if an opponent would search a library, that player searches the top 4 cards of that library instead. This is a staple card for Modern and Legacy, where there's a lot of searching the deck effects. And we got a foil Cradle of the Accursed. It's a desert, tap for a colorless, pay 3 mana, sacrifice it, create a 2/2 black zombie creature, activate only as a sorcery. Alright, we got an Oracle's Vault. 4 mana artifact, exile the top card of your library. Until end of turn, you may play that card. Put a brick counter on Oracle's Vault. Exile the top card of your library. Until end of turn, you may play that card without paying its mana cost. Activate this ability only if there are 3 or more brick counters on Oracle's Vault. So it lets you get extra spell casts off, playing from the top of your deck. And we got a foil split card. Onward and Victory. 3 mana red instant. Target creature gets X until end turn, where X is its power. Victory. Target creature gains double strike until end turn. I really don't like the fact that that second one is a sorcery speed effect. Because if you could do both of these at instant speed, it'd be just pretty devastating. a little expensive, 6 mana. But, hey, I guess you're there. Hazaret's Favor. 3 mana enchantment. At the beginning of combat on your turn, you may have target creature you control gain 2/0 and haste until end of turn. If you do, sacrifice at the beginning of the next end step. So, it's alright, I guess. I mean, personally, I don't much care for it, but hey, you could drop that turn 3, and turn 4 drop a Gideon, make a token, swing it for 4 damage. I don't know. Dispossess. This is a 3 mana sorcery. 3 mana black sorcery. Choose an artifact card name. Search target opponent's graveyard, hand, and library for any number of cards with the chosen name and exile them. That player shuffles his or her library. So I hear you like to play Walking Ballista. Well, goodbye to that. Unless, of course, you know you resolved it the turn before I cast this. Glyph Keeper. 5 mana Sphinx. 5 power, 3 toughness. It's flying, and whenever it becomes a target of spell or ability for the first time each turn, counter that spell or ability. Has Embalm of 7. So, it's not the strongest card I've ever seen, but it's pretty good because it has built-in protection against spot removal. So if your opponent's playing burn or something like that and they want to get rid of it, they're going to have to waste 2 spells to kill this one. And then they get to waste another 2 because you can just embalm it, put a token that's a copy of it onto the field. Vizier of Many Faces. 4 mana, Shapeshifter Cleric, base power and toughness is 0/0. You may have Vizier of Many Faces enter the battlefield as a copy of... Wow, it's getting pretty glary. It's a copy of any creature on the battlefield except if Vizier of Many Minds was embalmed. The token has no mana cost, it's white, and it's a zombie in addition to its other types. So it's just a fancy clone. Okay, this should be pack number 23. Champion of Ronus. 3/3 for 4 mana, Jackal Warrior. You may exert it as it attacks. When you do, you may put a creature card from your hand onto the battlefield. So it's a creature that lets you cheat other creatures into play. Get my turn 5 Ulamog, I guess, or I guess what you could do is have that enchantment. Which one was it? There's a few cards back here. Hazaret's Favor. Come on. So at the beginning of combat, you give him hate. You give this guy haste. Come on, focus. Give him haste from this. Swing and exert, and then throw a creature from your hand onto the battlefield. But I'm not going to play stock in that one. Right, next pack. I like this card a lot. Bounty of the Luxa. This is a 4 mana enchantment. At the beginning of your pre-combat main phase, remove all flood counters from it. If no flood counters removed this way, you put a flood counter on Bounty Luxa and draw a card. Otherwise, add 3 mana to your mana pool. So that's just an enchantment that gives you value every turn, whether it's an extra draw or more mana. And we got a foil Decision Perilous, 4 mana instant. Tap up to 2 target creatures. Those creatures don't untap during the controller's next untap step. And this should be pack 25. Regal Caracal, King of the Cats. 5 mana, 3/3. Other cats you control get 1/1 and have lifelink. And when it enters the battlefield, create 2 1/1 white cat creature tokens with lifelink. So for 5 mana, you're getting 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 power. It's pretty good. So it gives other cats lifelink, but the tokens already have lifelink, so even if you lose the Regal Caracal, you're still going to have 2 lifelink tokens. Soul Scar Mage. This might see some play. Soul Scar Mage, 1 mana, human wizard, 1 power, 2 toughness, has prowess, and if a source you control would deal non-combat damage to a creature an opponent controls, put that many -1/-1 counters on that creature instead. So red finally has a way to deal with Gideon. I'm going to animate my Gideon and swing 5 at your face. Well, I'm just going to burn him to death. He's indestructible. It doesn't work that way. Nah, check out the Soul Scar Mage I got. No! Alright. Plague Belcher, 3 mana, 5/4, zombie beast. He has menace. When he enters the battlefield, put 2 -1/-1 counters on target creature you control. Whenever another zombie you control dies, each opponent loses 1 life. So he's a 5/4 for 3 mana. He has menace. Downside is you're going to have to put 2 -1/-1 counters on a creature you control. So if he's the only creature you got, then you've got a 3/2 with menace. Dusk and Dawn. Kind of an underwhelming board wipe in my opinion, but 4 mana sorcery, destroy all creatures with power 3 or greater. Dawn, Aftermath. Return all creature cards with power 2 or less from your graveyard to your hand. Really don't like this one because it's got a pretty narrow use. If your opponent's playing strong creatures, then yeah, you're going to kill them all, but if they're playing some kind of weenie deck where they're just spitting out a bunch of 1/1s and 2/2s, then I'm going to get a whole lot of use out of that. Alright, Curator of Mysteries. Very mysterious. This is a 4 mana Sphinx, 4/4. He has flying. Whenever you cycle or discard another card, scry 1, and he has the cycling for 1 blue mana. So, honestly, I think it's a pretty good card. Yes, he only has... Oh no, he has 4 power and toughness. Never mind, I thought it was 4/3 for a second. So 4/4 for 4 mana with flying is already pretty strong of itself. The effect that let you scry is also really strong. If you need to draw something else, being able to cycle it for a single mana is also pretty relevant. Anointed Procession, another enchantment, 4 mana. Enchantment, if an effect would create 1 or more tokens under your control, it creates twice that many of those tokens instead. So it's not a card that can win the game for you, but it's an enabler for other cards, any kind of token generation. So like if you're playing the good old green-white tokens with Nisa and Gideon, like double the tokens. Alright, we got a Heaven and Earth. Heaven, instant, deals X damage to each creature with flying. Earth, Aftermath. Earth deals X damage to each creature without flying. Actually, I had one of these in the pre-release that did some work for me. I was playing against an opponent who was playing blue-white, and they had a bunch of flyers. Top decked it. No more flyers. We got another foil. We got our Rags and Riches. Rags, 4 mana sorcery. All creatures get -2/-2 until end of turn. Riches, 7 mana sorcery. Aftermath, each opponent chooses a creature he or she controls. You gain control of those creatures. And we got a foil Winged Shepherd. 6 mana, 3/3 flying vigilance, and you can cycle it for a single white mana. Ooh, nice card. Angel of Sanctions, 5 mana, 3/4. Come on. I keep getting a glare. There we go. Flying. When it enters the battlefield, you may exile target non-land permanent opponent controls until Angel of Sanctions leaves the battlefield. Embalm, 6 mana. So it's a 2-for-1 card that is pretty much an Oblivion Ring. And we got an Catcher's Attendant. 5 mana, 3/3 flyer, cycle it for 2 mana, embalm it for 5. Alright, 3 packs left. I haven't seen a Planeswalker yet, so I'm hoping to find something in this box. Honestly, I have not been wowed by anything out of here yet. We got a Glorybringer. This is 5 mana. It's a dragon. Please focus. There we go. It's a 4/4 flying haste, and you may exert it as it attacks. When you do, it deals 4 damage to target non-dragon creature an opponent controls. So it's a 4/4 flying haste and removal on stick. Two packs left. Sweltering Suns. This is a 3 mana sorcery. Come on. Deal 3 damage to each creature, or you can pay 3 mana to cycle it. Last pack from box 1. And we got a Dread Wanderer. It's a 2/1 for 1 black mana, enters battlefield tapped, and you may pay 3 to return it from the graveyard to the battlefield, but only activate if you could activate only when you can cast a sorcery, and only if you have 1 or fewer cards in hand. So it's a 2/1 with recursion. So that's pretty good by itself. That's it for box 1. Unfortunately, I didn't really see anything that really wowed me. I was hoping for at least 1 Planeswalker. Actually, I'm hoping to find is an Invocation of the Force of Will variety, but I doubt I'm going to find that specific one. Alright, box number 2. Alright, let's hope for some better luck on this one. Box 2, pack 1. Harvest season. We're off to a very bad start. This is a 3 mana sorcery. Search your library for up to X basic land cards where X is the number of attack creatures you control and put those cards onto the battlefield tapped, then shuffle your library. This would actually have been pretty decent if it was instant, because I could just declare my creatures as attackers and go search for a bunch of lands. Alright, we got a Cut and Ribbons. This is a decent card, I think. 2 mana Cut. Sorcery speed, unfortunately, but it deals 4 damage to a creature. And Ribbons is double black and X. Sorcery. Come on with this. Each opponent loses X life. Come on. It's like there's a bunch of things it's trying to focus on at one given time. There you go. So it's a removal spell and then a late game burn to your opponent. think it would be better if it was damage to the opponent, because then you could also use it as a redirect to a Planeswalker. But it's still a way to get some life off your opponent. Alright, we got another Dusk and Dawn. Again, this is a 4-mana sorcery that destroys all creatures power 3 or greater, and then you can aftermath it from the graveyard to return all creature cards with power 2 or less from your graveyard to your hand. Another Dispossess. You choose an artifact name, search your opponent's graveyard, hand, and library for any number of them, and then exile them, shuffle the deck. Another Sweltering Sun. I guess this is just going to be a box of duplicates. Which would have been great if I had opened up nothing but mythic rares. 3 mana sorcery, deal 3 damage to each creature, and pay 3 mana to cycle. It's a very high cycle cost, I think. We got an Honored Hydra, which I believe we did get on box 1. 6 mana, 6/6, trample, and a bomb for 4. Oh boy, another Hazoret's Favor. 3-mana enchantment, beginning of your combat, you may have target creature you control gain 2/0 in haste until the end of turn. If you do, sacrifice at the beginning of the next end step. Joy. Chandler Initiate. I think this one's a pretty decent card. This is a 3/4 for 2 mana. When it enters the battlefield, put 3 -1/-1 counters on target creature you control. Tap, remove a -1/-1 counter from it to add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. So it's either a 3/4, and you have to pretty much kill one of your other creatures, or a 0/1 that's going to get you 3 mana. Alright, we got another Dread Wanderer. 2/1 for 1 black mana that enters the battlefield tapped. Pay 3 mana to return from the graveyard to the battlefield. Activate only as a sorcery, and whenever you have 1 or fewer cards in hand. And we got a Luxa River Shrine foil. 3 mana, pay 1, gain 1 life, put a brick counter on it. Or gain 2 life, but only activate if you have 3 or more brick counters on it. Oops. This one might see some play. A Prowling Serpapard. 3 mana, 4/3. It cannot be countered, and creature spells you control can't be countered. So I see it as a sideboard option against a control deck. I just mentioned that flash ability. And we got another Glory Bringer. Glorious. 5 mana, 4/4, Flying Haste. You may exert it as it attacks. When you do, it deals 4 damage to target non-dragon creature your opponent controls. Alright, pack 12 from box 2. Still have not seen anything good out of this box. We got another Never in Return, which is an alright card. It's a sorcery speed Hero's Downfall, with the ability to make a 2/2 token by exiling something from your opponent's graveyard. Oh, it doesn't have to be their graveyard, any graveyard, but why would you exile your own thing? You know something I don't. Alright, next pack. This card was in here upside down. That's weird. We got a God, Bantu the Glorified. 3 mana, 4/6, medicine indestructible. It cannot attack or block unless a creature died under your control this turn. You may pay 2 to sacrifice another creature. Scry 1. Each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. Oops, don't need 2 packs. Show me some Planeswalker love. Oh, we got a land. Sheltered Thicket. Is a mountain forest. Enters battlefield tapped. Cycle it for 2 mana. Alright, Sandworm Convergence. I'm assuming it's going to see 0 play, but this is an 8 mana enchantment. Creatures with flying can't attack you or planeswalkers you control. At the beginning of your end step, create a 5/5 green worm creature token. So 8 mana is going to get you a 5/5 that turn. It's also going to stop your opponent from being able to swing at you. We got a Foil Magma Spray. Deals 2 damage to target creature. If that creature would die this turn, exile instead. I assume with all the graveyard recursion in this set that this is going to see some sideboard play in red decks. Magma Spray was able to target your opponent as well, or at the very least the Planeswalker, then I'm sure it would see a little bit more play. Another Angel of Sanctions, but I'm actually happy about that because I like this card. 3/4 flyer. When it enters the battlefield, you may exile target non-land permanent opponent controls until Angel of Sanction leaves the battlefield, and ball it for 6 mana. And if you want to get cute, you can play that enchantment that doubles your tokens. Embalm it, get 2 Angel Sanctions, and then exile 2 things. And we got our Glyph Keeper. It's a 5/3 for 5 mana with flying. When it becomes target spell ability for the first time each turn, counter that spell ability. Embalm for 7. And a foil Illusory Wrappings. Illusory, I don't know. 3 mana, enchant creature is base power and toughness 0/2. Next pack. Liliana's Mastery. This is for zombie theme deck. Or it could be strong by itself, I guess. 5 mana, enchantment, zombies you control get +1/+1, and when it enters the battlefield, you create 2 2/2 black zombie creature tokens. So for 5 mana, you're getting 6 power and toughness. As well as pumping any other zombies you have out. Gideon's Intervention. Alright, 4 mana enchantment. When it enters the battlefield, choose a card name. Your opponent can't cast spells with the chosen name, and prevent all damage that will be dealt to you and permanent you control by sources with the chosen name. Failure and Comply. As a blue-white control player, I really like this theme for this card. It's a 2 mana instant, return target spell to its owner's hand. Comply, 1 mana. Oop. Choose a card name. Until your next turn, your opponent can't cast spells with the chosen name. So you bounce something back to your opponent's hand when they're trying to cast it, and on your turn you name that card, and then they cannot cast it. So it's a spell version of Reflector Mage, pretty much. Which is funny that they would print something like that since Reflector Mage got banned. But this one can't kill your opponent. Alright, Fetid Pools. This is another dual land. It's an island in a swamp. Enters battlefield tapped. Cycle it for 2 mana. Okay. We got a Temet, Vizier of Naktamun. 2/2 for a white and a blue. At the beginning of combat on your turn, target creature token you control gets +1/+1 until end of turn. It can't be blocked this turn. And bomb for 5 mana, so he can make himself unblockable with +1/+1. We got a foil Pitiless Vizier. Whoop. 4 mana Minotaur Cleric, 4/2. Whenever you cycle or discard a card, he becomes indestructible until end of turn. And we got a Plague Belcher again. 5/4 for 3 mana. As Menace, when enters battlefield, you put 2 -1/-1 counters on a creature you control, and whenever another zombie you control dies, each opponent loses 1 life. Alright, pack 24 from box 2. Heaven and Earth again. Heaven is an instant, green and X, deals X damage to each creature with flying, and Earth is a double red and X, aftermath, deals X damage to each creature without flying, and I don't know why the hell my camera keeps acting up like that when I get something close to it. I don't know, it might be like the light reflecting off these booster packs and stuff is messing with it. I don't know. Alright, we got double rare pack. Shadow of the Grave, 2 mana instant, return to your hand all cards in your graveyard that you cycled or discarded this turn. And a foil Sweltering Suns, 3 mana, sorcery, deal 3 damage to each creature, cycle it for 3 mana. Oracle's Vault. 4 mana, pay 2, exile top card of your library. Until end of turn you may play that card, put a brick counter on Oracle's Vault. Or you can tap it to exile top card of your library, and then until end of turn you may play it without paying its mana cost, but only activate if you have 3 or more brick counters on it. And we got another land. Irrigated Farmland, Plains Island, enters battlefield tapped, cycle it for 2 mana. Archfiend of Ifna. I had this in one of my pre-release decks and it did a lot of work. 5/4 for 5 mana, has flying. Whenever you cycle or discard another card, put a -1/-1 counter on each creature your opponent controls, and you can cycle it for 2 mana. Essentially, if you get to stick for a turn and cycle something, you can pretty much wipe out your opponent's board. Mouth and Feed. There was a kid at the, I think it was a Saturday pre-release, who had 2 of these. I think one of them was a foil. Mouth, for 3 mana, you create a 3/3 green hippo creature token. Holy crap, stop freaking out. Focus. Whap. Create a 3/3 green creature hippo creature token. Feed, Aftermath. Draw a card for each creature you control, power 3 or greater. It's an alright card. Although I would have liked if Mouth was an instant, because then you could get a 3/3 in there by surprise on your opponent's turn. Maybe create a blocker. Hippo Ambush, activate. We got Hapatra, Vizier of Poisons. It's a 2/2 for a black and a green. Whap. Whap. I said whap. Okay, whenever it deals combat damage to a player, you may put a -1/-1 counter on target creature. Whenever you put one or more -1/-1 counters on a creature, create a 1/1 green snake creature token with Death Touch. We got a Mythic. Not really a grand Mythic in my opinion. Combat Celebrant. 3 mana. If it hasn't been exerted this turn, you may exert it as it attacks. When you do, untap all other creatures you control, and after this phase, there is additional combat phase. Of course, they put in that clause about it if it wasn't exerted this turn, because you could put Vigilance on it and then just take infinite combat steps if your opponent can't stop you. Well, not infinite, I mean eventually you'll be dead. Here we go. This is a card I've been looking forward to since they spoiled it. Pull from Tomorrow. Double blue and X. Draw X cards and discard a card. Instant speed. If you could gain some life, then it would be Sphinx's Revelation, which I really do miss. That was a great card. And we got a Foil Plains. Unfortunately, it's not full art. Alright, I got 4 packs left in this box. I still have not seen a single Planeswalker. So here's hoping. Curator of Mysteries. This is the 4 mana 4/4 flyer, and whenever you cycle, discard another card, scry 1, or pay a blue to cycle it. Oh, sweet. I really like this one. This is I want to put in my EDH deck. This is As Foretold. It's a 3 mana blue enchantment. At the beginning of your upkeep, you put a time counter on As Foretold. Once each turn, you may pay 0 rather than pay the mana cost for a spell you cast with converted mana cost X or less, where X is the number of time counters on As Foretold. So the turn after you play, you have 1 time counter. You can cast any single card in your hand for 1 mana without paying the mana cost. And the turn after that, go into 2, then 3, then 4. Oh, this is a pretty good one. Censor. It's 2 mana instant, counter target spell unless its controller pays 1, or you can cycle it for a blue mana. At some point in the game, your opponent's going to have way more mana than they need to cast spells, so it's going to become irrelevant, so just pitch it for a single blue mana to get another card, hopefully something that actually helps. Got another Soul Scar Mage. It's a 1 mana 1/2 with prowess, and if a source you control would deal non-combat damage to a creature opponent controls, you put that main -1/-1 counters on the creature instead. Last pack. Please be a Force of Will. Almost as good though. Harsh Mentor. I assume this card is going to be worth a lot of money. This is a 2/2 for 2 mana. Wow. There we go. 2/2 for 2 mana. Whenever an opponent activates an ability of an artifact, creature, or land on the battlefield, if it isn't a mana ability, Harsh Mentor deals 2 damage to that player. That has implications in every single format. Any red deck wins deck is going to want to play 4 of that. Your opponent's playing, I don't know, Countertop. Actually, I guess not anymore since I think Sensei's got banned. They're playing Affinity. Okay, good luck with that. Every activated ability is now going to deal 2 damage to you. You want to sack all your creatures and Put a bunch of +1/+1 counters on one dude, taking 2 damage every time you do it. That also works on like fetch lands. Your opponent pays 1 life, searches for a land. They're going to take an additional 2 damage from that. Oh, they also want to put the land in play untapped. It's a shock land. They're going to take 2 from that. So they just paid 5 life to fetch a land. Alright, box number 3. I probably should have emptied my garbage can before I started this. Alright, box 3, pack 1. Let's see some value. I just got another Harsh Mentor. Boom, baby! 2 damage to the face. Luckily, it doesn't say Planeswalker because that would just make them completely useless. Chandler Initiate. I'm already liking this box a lot. This is the 2-mana Mana Dork. It's a 3/4. Enters battlefield, put 3 -1/-1 counters on a creature you control. Remove a -1/-1 counter from it to add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. Another Cut and Ribbons. Deal 4 damage to target creature. 4 damage to target creature. Or each opponent loses X life. Got another Liliana's Mastery. Zombies you control get +1/+1, and when it enters battlefield, create 2/2 black zombie creature tokens. And a foil Manticore of the Gauntlet. 5/4 for 5 mana. When it enters battlefield, put a -1/-1 counter on target creature you control. Manticore of the Gauntlet deals 3 damage to target opponent. So that's a creature that is also a lightning bolt to the face. Too bad it's not as cost effective as a lightning bolt. New Perspectives. This is another blue enchantment. Just notice there's a lot of enchantments in this set. 6-mana enchantment. When it enters battlefield, draw 3 cards, and as long as you have 7 or more cards in hand, you may pay 0 rather than paying cycling costs. Huh. It's not bad. As long as you got 7 cards in hand, you can pay 0 to cycle. We got another Gideon's Intervention. I mean, I don't need more than one of these, really, but I still like the card. 4-mana enchantment, enters battlefield, choose a card name. Your opponent can't cast spells with the chosen name and prevent all damage that would be dealt to you and permanents you control by sources with the chosen name. So, either stops your opponent from casting a spell or protects you from the spell. Your opponent is playing Gideons in their deck. Okay, I'm going to name your Gideon. You had already resolved it, so can't do anything about that at this point, but I'm not going to take damage from you hitting me in the face with it. Of course, he's still going to make 2/2 tokens, so we can get damage in through that. Double rare pack. Got another Prowling Serpapard. 3 mana 4/3, can't be countered, and creature spells you control can't be countered. And we got another Honored Hydra of the foil variety this time. 6/6 for 6 mana with trample, or embalm it for 4. So I would assume that you want to pitch this early on and then just embalm it. Why wait till turn 6 when you can do it on turn 4? Turn 3 maybe, it's playing green. You're gonna probably be playing a Mana Dork. We got another Vizier of the Menagerie. 3/4 for 4 mana, mythic rarity. Nog Cleric, and you may look at the top card of your library. You may do it at any time. You may cast the top card of your library if it's a creature card, and you may spend mana over mana of any type to cast creature spells. We got our Cascading Cataracts. I might put one of these in my EVH deck for the 5 mana. It's an indestructible land that taps for colorless, or you pay 5 to add 5 mana in any combination of colors to your mana pool. So tap it for red, white, blue, black, and red. White, blue, black, red, and green. Or you go blue, blue, black, black, white, or whatever combination you want to do. It doesn't matter, it's up to you. And we got another Pyramid of the Pantheon. Very weird mana rock. 1 mana. Artifact, pay 2 to add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool, put a brick counter on it. If it has 3 brick counters on it, you can tap it for 3 mana of any 1 color. Quasi ramp. Don't much care for this one though. If it was pay 1 to add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool, then okay, but you're still losing a turn on that. Glorious End. And it very much will be if you don't end the game soon. 3 mana instant, end the turn. At the beginning of your next end step, you lose the game. So you put yourself on a 1 turn clock, but you might be able to stop your opponent from killing you. Or something else, I don't know. Get them to swing out at you end turn, and then just swing back at them. Another Dispossess. I really don't want to see any more of this card. 3 mana sorcery, choose an artifact card name, search target opponent's graveyard, hand, and library for any number of cards with the chosen name and exile them. Then that player shuffles their library. Insult and Injury. Insult, 3 mana sorcery, damage can't be prevented this turn. If a source you control will deal damage this turn, deals double that damage instead. Injury, Aftermath. Injury deals 2 damage to target creature and 2 damage to target player. Ooh, as foretold. Did I get one in this box? Nope, must have been at the end of box 2. This is the 3 mana blue enchantment. Beginning of your upkeep, put time counter on it, and once each turn you may pay 0 rather than pay the mana cost for a spell that you cast with converted mana cost X or less, where X is the number of time counters on as foretold. That says once each turn, so I can actually use this on my opponent's turn as well, so to get extra value out of it. I wonder if I can use As Foretold to cast Ancestral Vision. I think it has a converted mana cost of 0 because you can cascade into it that way, but I don't know. Alright, we got another Shadow of the Grave, 2 mana instant, return to your hand all cards in your graveyard that you cycled or discarded this turn. Oracle's Vault. Fun little card, 4 mana, pay 2, exile top card of your library. Until end of turn you may play that card, put a brick counter on Oracle's Vault. Tap it, exile top card of your library until end of turn. You may play that card without paying its mana cost. Activate this ability only if there are 3 more brick counters on Oracle's Vault. It's just a card that lets you get extra value. Hopefully you're not exiling something you can't cast though. Harvest Season. Epically bad ramp spell. 3 mana sorcery, search your library for up to X basic land cards where X is the number of tapped creatures you control and put those cards onto the battlefield tapped, then shuffle your library. And we got a failure and comply. 2 mana, return target spell to the center's hand. Comply. Choose a card name until your next turn your opponent can't cast spells with the chosen name. Hazoret's Favor. 3 mana, enchantment, beginning of your combat turn. At the beginning of combat on your turn, you may have a target creature you control gain +2/+0 in haste until end of turn. If you do, sacrifice at the beginning of next end step. And I got a foil. You got Hapatra, Vizier of Poisons, 2 mana, 2/2. When she deals combat damage to a player, you may put a -1/-1 counter on a target creature, and whenever you put 1 or more -1/-1 counters on a creature, you create a 1/1 green snake creature token with Death Touch. You could make some kind of weird Jund deck that uses the Soul Scar Mage with Patra and I guess, I don't know, Walking Ballista or something like that. Non-combat damage, deal 1 damage with the Ballista to a creature, make a 1/1 snake. Because the 1 damage is going to turn to a -1/-1 counter. And we got a foil, Dissenter's Deliverance, 2 mana instant, destroy target artifact or cycle it for a green mana. So you can actually mainboard this and then just cycle it if you need to. With all the Mardu vehicles and whatnot going around. The land deck, or land pack. We got a Canyon Slow, Swamp Mountain Dual Land, enters battlefield tap, cycle for 2. A foil Island, which I really wish was full art, but it's not. Really nice looking canyon though. Or would that be an oasis? Alright, we finally got a Planeswalker. Pretty good one at that. We got Nissa, Steward of Elements. The only X-loyalty Planeswalker I know of. Mana, converted mana cost is blue, green, and X. And its battlefield X loyalty counters where however much mana you play and pump into it. +2, scry 2. Pay 0 to look at the top card of your library. If it's a land card or a creature card with converted mana cost less than or equal to the number of loyalty counters on Nissa's Steward of Elements, you may put that card onto the battlefield. -6, untap up to 2 target lands you control. They become 5/5 elemental creatures with flying and haste until end of turn. They're still lands. So this card is relevant at all stages of the game. I can pay 3 mana to get a 1 loyalty Planeswalker, pump it up to 3 loyalty, and scry 2. I do not play, well, I have a Yu-Gi-Oh deck, but I don't competitively play it or anything like that. But, alright, so yeah. Early game lets you manipulate your deck. Mid game lets you get some value. Drop it late game just to swing it with 2 5/5 elemental creature lands. You know, when I still have it in my backpack, I think it's a spellcaster deck. It's not a good spellcaster deck, but it's a spellcaster deck. Alright. We I got a Temet Vizier of Noctamoon. Blue and white 2/2. At the beginning of combat on your turn, target creature token control gets +1/+1 until on the turn. It can't be blocked. Pay 5 mana to embalm it. And we got a foil Bantu's Monument. 3 mana legendary artifact. Black creature spells you cast cost 1 less to cast, and whenever you cast a creature spell, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. We got our land. This is Sheltered Thicket. It's a mountain forest that enters the battlefield tapped, and you can cycle it for 2 mana. Alright, box 3, pack 25. I really keep a track of what packs I'm on, just opening them all. We got another mythic. This is a black enchantment for 7 mana. It's an Aura Curse enchant player. At the beginning of an enchanted player's upkeep, that player sacrifices a creature, planeswalker. If the player can't, he or she loses 5 life. It's pretty expensive at 7 mana. Honestly, I don't see it being played in any competitive deck. Maybe for fun in an EH deck, but that's about it. Alright, we got another Even Mind Sensor. 3 mana, 2/1 flash fly, and an opponent would search a library. That player searches top 4 cards of that library instead. So your opponent's going to crack an Evolving Wild, so I'm going to flash this into play, and then they're going to probably whiff on their search because they're only looking top 4 of their deck. We got another Glorybringer. 4/4 for 5 mana, flying haste, and you may exert it to deal 4 damage to a non-dragon creature an opponent controls. We got a foil Crop Elite, 4 mana, 2/2 flyer. You may exert it as it attacks. When you do, it gets +1/+1 until end of turn. I'm really hoping that that's not going to be the only planeswalker I open out of these boxes. Now we get our Bounty of the Luxa. Not a bad card. It's a little slow though. 4 mana enchantment. At the beginning of your pre-combat main phase, remove all flood counters from Bounty of the Luxa. If no counters removed this way, you may put a counter on it to draw a card. Otherwise, you add 3 mana to your mana pool. How do you play Magic? Well, you have a deck of 60 cards. Usually about 24 or 25 lands, and then spells of creatures, instant sorceries, planeswalkers, artifacts. Each turn you may play 1 land. Lands tap for mana, which fuels your spells. Each spell has a mana cost at the top up here. So like this card right here, I would need a blue mana, green mana, and 2 of any mana. And it's pretty fun. Spend a lot of time playing it. So you and your opponent have 20 life, and you're trying to either beat each other with creatures, deal damage with spells. If you can't draw cards from your deck, you lose. If you run out of life, you lose. There are cards that just say you win or your opponent loses. All kinds of different things. Got another Sandworm Convergence. It's an 8 mana enchantment. Bwop. Creatures with flying can't attack you or planeswalker control. At the beginning of your end step, create a 5/5 green worm creature token. And a foil Sixth Sense. Enchant creature. The enchanted creature has, whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, you may draw a card. So drop this on your turn 1 play, on your second turn, and you're probably going to draw a card. So it already replaced itself. And we got a double rare pack. Got another Archfiend of Ifnir. 5 mana, 5/4. It's flying. Whenever you cycle, discard another card, put a -1/-1 counter on each creature opponent controls, and then you can also cycle it for 2 mana. And we got a foil with 0 Many Faces, which is just a fancy clone. Whop. Whop. You may have the 0 Many Faces enter battlefield as a copy of any creature on the battlefield, except if the 0 Many Faces was embalmed. The token has no mana cost, it's white, and it's a zombie in addition to its other types. You may embalm it for 5 mana. Ah, and I want to see any more of these. Got another Dusk and Dawn. 4 mana sorcery. Destroy all creatures power 3 or greater. Dawn. Whop. Aftermath sorcery. Return all creature cards with power 2 or less from your graveyard to your hand. I got a land. Scattered Groves. Force and Plains. Enters battlefield tapped. Cycle for 2 mana. We got 4 packs left in this box. Still hoping to find an invocation. Ah, we got a land. Alright, Fetid Pools. Say Island in a Swamp. Enters battlefield tapped. Pay 2 mana to cycle it. And we got Mouth and Feed. 3 mana sorcery, create a 3/3 green hippo creature token. Feed is 4 mana sorcery, Aftermath, draw a card for each creature you control power 3 or greater. Since it's in a green deck, you're going to assume that you're always going to draw at least 2 cards off of that. Alright, Drake Haven. This I actually want to kind of build a deck around. Come on, focus. Drake Haven, 3 mana enchantment. Whenever you cycle or discard a card, you may pay 1. If you do, create a 2/2 blue Drake creature token with flying. Alright, last pack out of box number 3. I'm hoping for something good. Oh my god. Alright, well, got a Curator of Mysteries. 4 mana, 4/4 flying. Whenever you cycle or discard another card, scry 1, cycle for a blue mana. And we got an Invocation. Chain Lightning. These things are already hard as hell to read as is. I just needed to focus. Alright, for 1 red mana, Chain Lightning deals 3 damage to a creature or player. Then that player or that creature controller may pay 2 red. If the player does, he or she may copy the spell and may choose a new target for that copy. It's not a force of will, but at least I got an invocation. And Chain Lightning, I think, is somewhere in the middle in value. Yep, I still got 1 more box. Thank you, Sockstar. I mean, I actually bought 8 boxes. I'm only going to open up 4 of them. So the temptation is going to be there to crack another one just to hunt for another invocation, probably. This is box number 4. And trying to open the box with the blunt side of the knife is not going to do anything. I really should have emptied this first. Alright. Alright, box 4, pack 1. Let's get it started. Glory-bound Initiate. I think it's a pretty strong card. I regret not keeping with the game and getting rid of my cards years ago. Stopped playing around Stronghold. I came back a bit during... During what? Don't leave me in suspense. Glory-bound Initiate. 3/1 for 2 mana. You may exert it as it attacks. When you do, it gets +1/+3 and gains lifelink until end of turn. Gosh, I can't remember. Stronghold was quite a while ago. I pretty much started playing competitive Magic during the Lore 1 Shards of Lara block, but I've picked up cards as early as 7th edition. Lost the artifacts during the expansion. I think Stronghold was during Urza's... Was that, I think that was before the Titan engines and all that, when they invaded Phyrexia. Just after Tempest. Yeah, I wish I had played during those sets, but I didn't pick up this game until a little later. Alright, we got a double rare pack. I got an Irrigated Farmland. Plains and Islands. Enters battlefield tap. Pay 2 mana to cycle it. We got a foil Approach of the Second Sun. 7 mana. If it was cast from your hand and you've cast another spell named Approach of the Second Sun this game, you win the game. Otherwise, put Approach of the Second Sun into its owner's library 7th from the top and you gain 7 life. So again, you don't even have to resolve the first one. You just have to cast it to make the second one win the game for you. If you have the mana and the card in hand, you can actually use the bounce spell back to your hand one to just cast it the next turn and win then. Alright, we got a Champion of Ronus. Just a quasi-elvish piper. 4 mana, 3/3. You may exert it as it attacks. When you do, you may put a creature card from your hand onto the battlefield. Alright, we got a Commit in Memory. Commit, put target spell or non-land permanent into its owner's library 2nd from the top. Memory, Aftermath. Each player shuffles his or her hand and graveyard into his or her library, then draws 7 cards. Now, Commit, I really like that spell, but I don't like the mana cost. Because being able to get something off the field for 2 turns and manipulate your opponent's draw 2 turns from now is pretty strong. And we got a foil. We got another Vizier of Many Faces. Just a fancy clone. 4 mana. When you may have it enter the battlefield as a copy of any creature on the battlefield, except if it was embalmed. It has no mana cost, it's white, and it's a zombie addition to its other types. A balm for 5 mana. We got a foil twin. True Heart Twins. 5 mana, 4/4. You may exert it as it attacks. Whenever you exert a creature, creature control get +1/+0 until end of turn. So, you can drop it this turn, exert something else, and give all your dudes +1/+0. It's not a bad card, but pretty much only playable and limited. We got another Pyramid of the Pantheon, the 1 mana artifact mana rock that just does not do much for us until about turn 4 or 5, I guess. No, turn 5. turn 5. Pay 2, tap it, add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool, put a brick counter on it. Tap it for 3 mana of any 1 color to your mana pool, but only if there are 3 more brick counters on it. How stupid would that be if it had to be exactly 3, because your opponent could do something like put another counter on target permanent, put it up to 4 counters, and oh, okay, now it doesn't do anything. Oh, we got a Heart Piercer mana core. 4 mana, 4/3. Whap. 1 Heart Piercer mana core enters the battlefield. You may sacrifice another creature. When you do, Heart Piercer mana core deals damage equal to that creature's power to target creature player, and bomb for 6 mana. Let's go for 2 invocation in this box. Oh, I could only wish. I would love it if I got another invocation, let alone 2. Alright, we got a Neheb the Worthy. For 3 mana, you get a 2/2 Minotaur Warrior. He has first strike. Other Minotaurs you control have first strike. As long as you have 1 or fewer cards in hand, Minotaurs you control get +2/+0. Whenever he deals combat damage to a player, each player discards a card. So he's got a whole paragraph on him. But gives all your Minotaurs first strike. As long as you have 1 or less cards in your hand, they're all going to get +2/+0, including him. So yeah, Minotaur Tribal. It's a thing. We got Hazaret's Favor again. Don't much care for this enchantment, really. 3 mana enchantment. At the beginning of combat on your turn, you may have target creature you control get +2/+0 and gain haste until end of turn. If you do, sacrifice at the beginning of next end step. Got a Soul Scar Mage. 1 red mana for a 1/2 of Prowess, and if a source you control would deal non-combat damage to a creature an opponent controls, put that many -1/-1 counters on that creature instead. So Quasi Wither. And we got a foil Violent Impact. 4 mana sorcery, destroy target artifact or land, cycle for 2 mana. Alright, we got a foil. Got a Never in Return. Never, 3 mana sorcery, destroy target creature or planeswalker. Return 4 mana sorcery, Aftermath, exile target card from a graveyard, create a 2/2 black zombie creature token. And we got a foil Wayward Servant. Say 2/2 for white and black. Whenever another zombie enters the battlefield under your control, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. White black zombies, it'll be a thing. Alright, double rare pack. Got a Dread Wanderer, 1 black mana, 2/1. Enters battlefield tapped. Pay 3 mana, return from the graveyard to the battlefield. Activate only whenever you cast a sorcery and only if you have 1 or fewer cards in hand. And we got a foil Fetid Pools. It's an island in the swamp. Enters battlefield tapped and select for 2 mana. Shiny. That didn't happen. Okay, I got the playmat there. New Perspectives. It's an interesting one, to say the least. 6 mana enchantment. When it enters the battlefield, you draw 3 cards, and as long as you have 7 or more cards in hand, you may pay 0 rather than pay cycling costs. So it's 6 mana to draw 3 cards, and free cycling effect. Anointed Procession. Come on, focus. There we go. Annoying Procession is a 4-mana enchantment. If an effect would create one or more tokens under your control, it creates twice that many tokens instead. And a final reward. It's still a lot of work for me during pre-release. I got a couple of them in one of my decks. Alright. 5 mana, instant exile target creature. Being able to just exile any creature is pretty strong, but the mana cost is not. Alright, we got a mythic. Samut, Voice of Dissent. Come on. Alright, this is a 3/4 for 5 mana. It has Flash, Double Strike, Vigilance, Haste. Other creature you control have Haste. Pay 1 white to tap it and untap another target creature. This card is a little ridiculous. It pretty much does everything you could want. Throne of the God Pharaoh. 2 mana artifact of the legendary variety. At the beginning of your end step, each opponent loses life equal to the number of tapped creatures you control. Really, I don't much care for that, because I don't want to have my creatures tapped at the end of my turn. Well, of course, I'm a control player, so, you know, I never want to have anything tapped during my turn. I guess this is a good combination with aggro or some kind of synergy deck where you have a bunch of tapped creatures. And we got another Honored Hydra. I think this makes a whole playset at this point. 6 mana for a 6/6 Trampler, or Embalmment for 4 mana. We got another Rags to Riches. Alright, Rags for 4 mana, all creatures get -2/-2 until end of turn. And Riches for 7 mana, casting it from my graveyard, then exile it. Each opponent chooses a creature he or she controls, and I gain control of those creatures. It'd be pretty interesting if that was instant speed, because then I could have my opponent only had like a Gideon on their side of the field, they could animate it, then I could steal it. It's nice to dream. Approach of the Second Sun. I definitely don't need any more than the ones I already pulled at this point. But 7 mana, if it was cast from your hand, you've cast another spell named Approach of the Second Sun this game, you win the game. Otherwise, put Approach of the Second Sun into its owner's library 7 from the top, and you gain 7 life. The funny thing about this, though, is if you're playing a mirror match and your opponent casts it first, you win. Because it doesn't say. Let's see. Oh, I'm sorry, never mind. I misread. I even just read the card aloud. You have to cast from your hand to win. That would be kind of dumb, though, if my opponent cast it, then I won by casting the turn after them. Ah. Just seeing this guy's giving me the plague. Plague Belcher, 3 mana, 5/4 with Menace. When it enters the battlefield, put 2/1/1 counters on target creature you control. Whenever another zombie you control dies, each opponent loses 1 life. Heaven and Earth. I've seen more than my fair share of these at this point. Heaven, green and X. Deal X damage to each creature with flying. Earth, double red and X. Deals X damage to each creature without flying. I guess they just couldn't reprint Earthquake. Zombie deck incoming. I don't know. It's more of a like a mid-range aggro-y kind of deck, and it's I don't know. I just prefer to play control. Just play a lot of mid-range though. I don't know really. I really don't know what I want to play this set. We got Liliana's Mastery. Oh, there's more zombies for you. 5-mana enchantment. Zombies you control get +1/+1. When enters the battlefield, you create 2/2 black zombie creature tokens. 5 mana, 6 power, 6 toughness. But also pumping any other zombies you got on the field. So that's good as maybe a 2 of. Alright, we got Failure to Comply. Failure, 2 mana, return target spell to its owner's hand. Comply, choose a card name until your next turn. Your opponent can't cast spells with the chosen name. Alright, this is box 4, pack 24. After this, I got a single stack of boosters left. I am praying to find another invocation. Alright, we got a land. I think this might make a playset of the blue-white lands, so that's good. We got another irrigated farmland. It's plains and an island. Enters battlefield tapped, and cycle it for 2 mana. I had the strangest feeling I actually put a rare one into this common uncommon stack. Alright, we got another Neheb the Worthy. The Minotaur that can do everything. 3 mana, 2/2 with first strike. Other Minotaurs you control have first strike. As long as you have 1 or fewer cards in hand, Minotaurs you control get +2/+0. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, each player discards a card. And we got a foil Naga Vitalist. 2 mana, Naga Druid. Tap it to add 1 mana to your mana pool of any mana. Add to your mana pool 1 mana of any type that land you control could produce. So it's a reflecting pool on a creature. Which I think Reflecting Pool was first printed in Tempest, I forget. I know I had a bunch of them back when it was reprinted in the Lorwyn block. Alright. This I would like to run as a 2 of. Pull from tomorrow, double blue and X, draw X cards and discard a card. Instant speed. So being able to draw a bunch of cards at the end of my opponent's turn is always a good thing. Got another Glyph Keeper. This card itself is pretty strong. 5 mana, 5/3 flyer. Whenever it becomes target of a spell or ability for the first time each turn, counter that spell or ability. Pay 7 mana to embalm it. So again, this card can eat up 4 single target removals. And we got a Cut to Ribbons. 2 mana, deal 4 damage to target creature. Double black and X, each opponent loses X life. Not the foil I want to see in that spot. We got a Prepare to Fight. Prepare. White and colorless, instant, untapped target creature gets +2/+2 and gains lifelink until end of turn. Fight. 4 mana, target creature control, fights target creature and opponent controls. Can't get any simpler than that. Literally does what the card's called. We got a foil Slitherblade. Wow. For 1 blue mana, you get a 1/2 that cannot be blocked. Cannot be blocked. Chandler Initiate. Hey, getting an emblem. 4 boxes and I've only opened a single Planeswalker. That's bad. Alright, we got another Chandler Initiate. 3-4, or a 3-4 for 2 mana. Enter this battlefield, put 3 -1/-1 counters on target creature you control. Tap it to remove a -1/-1 counter from Chandler Initiate. Add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. Running out of packs. We got a Bontu the Glorified. A 4-6 for 3 mana, has Medicine and Indestructible. You cannot attack or block unless a creature died under your control this turn. You may pay 2 mana to sacrifice another creature, scry 1, and each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. So in you know, some kind of black zombie recursion deck, it's decent. Keep sacking the dude. Alright, this one's actually a full art. We got another Crackle. 3-3 for 5 mana. Other catch control get +1/+1 have lifelink, and when it enters the battlefield, you create 2 1/1 white cat creature tokens with lifelink. So you're getting 2 1/1s, so you're getting pumped up to 2 2s. So that's 7 power total for 5 mana. And we got a foil plains. That is 8 awesome looking plains. We got a land. This is a Sheltered Thicket. Mountain Forest, enters battlefield tapped, and cycled for 2 mana. 3 packs left. Come on, Invocation. Nope. Harsh Mentor, but it's not an invocation, but still a very strong card. A 2-2 for 2 mana. Whenever an opponent activates an ability on an artifact, creature, land on the battlefield, if it isn't a mana ability, Harsh Mentor deals 2 damage to that player. Alright, we got an Catcher of the True. Funny, the Midnight pre-release and the Saturday pre-release I played in, I pulled a single copy of this in both decks, and they were both the promo. Catcher of the True is a 3-6 for 4 mana, has double strike and indestructible, cannot attack or block unless you control at least 3 other creatures, and you may pay 4 mana to create a 1/1 white warrior creature token with vigilance. So she's pretty easy to activate, and you can also just use her ability to activate her. Last pack. Can this be as good as the last box and have an invocation in the last pack? I'm going to slow roll the hell out of this, 2, 3. Nope. It's a dud. We got another Temet Zero of Noctamoon. 2-2 for blue and white. At the beginning of combat on your turn, target creature token you control gets +1/+1 until on a turn. It can't be blocked this turn. Embalm for 5 mana. Alright, well that was 4 booster boxes of Amonkhet. Got a bunch of decent rares in there, and even opened up an invocation, which this little baby is going to go right into a top deck loader. Chain Lightning. I can barely focus as is. There we go. Honestly, when I first saw these cards spoiled, I thought they looked god-awful. But in my hand, it looks pretty neat. I still don't like the fact that the border is completely different from any other Magic card. Well, that's it for this. So thanks for joining. On 20 years, hopefully it brings you a pretty penny. I'll probably still have it in 20 years. I got a bunch of cards I just got locked up and stuff like that. Alright, well, it is 5 in the morning now. I'm going to get offline. Have a nice night.